is it like really this popular? We run it in such a way that you'll have a break by what, 11:30? And then lunch is at 1. How does your day usually go?
We have our first break is at 10:45
10:45.
till 11, and we have lunch at 12:15.
That's flexible.
But we can adjust.
Okay. If you want a break, tell me you want a break. And okay, is there any way possible to bring you in a little closer? Like, yeah, why not? We can share. I would really appreciate that because
Like you wanted.
as long as there is not so much distance between you.
This first one basically.
So that's Karnataka will come up I want to show you some ads just for the heck of it to make my point. You can't fit here, right? Never get fucking left out. हाथ मार कहीं भी जाएगा जिंदगी में पहले हाथ मार because कोई ना कोई हाथ मारेगा ही. So like get in so far ahead. Remember one thing, guys, it's the bad boy that gets the girls. So like get in there. One of the points I'm going to attempt to make today. One of the points I'm going to attempt to make today that this advertising theory is actually it's just a formalization of a small piece of comprehension about life. I'm going to get there at that point in time. But I just want to set the stage for it. Have you ever seen somebody die? No? So have you? Who?
Well, I'm a peasant.
Okay. There is, even if it's a fucking rat, no? There is grief when life gets extinguished. No? You can feel this rat.
Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in most everything that I see. Not a cloud in the sky, got the sun in my eyes, and I won't be surprised if it's a dream. I'm on the top of the world. This is the end. Beautiful friend. This is the end. My only friend. The end. Oh, if my breath lands the
If I were to ask you to take a second, incidentally, my email is alvinsaldanha@gmail.com, ALVINSALDANH. If you write to me, I'll send you whatever commercial you want me to send you. मेरे बाप का माने Okay. So just note down whatever you want to say and we will send you the presentation. There is no proprietary information.
I would be more interested in the ads.
Done. Not a problem.
Oh my God.
There is, if you take a step back, what it appeals to you is that first, we all know that rats are a nuisance. Cheese gets them. So, and this is produced for an American audience, which means it has Judeo-Christian, Anglo-Saxon, Occidental cultural feedbacks, which means carpenters, I'm on top of the world, And then, of course, there is that fantastic title music of Rocky, which became famous. So you see the mouse bichara aaya, then there is a moment of hope because the side pe baith ke cheese khata hai, to ye to bach gaya. And then that terrifying death sequence, better than all the Amitabh death sequence put together. Kya saas leta hai. Forget the fact that he's a rat and your heart goes out to that rat. What a way to die. And then, the joy you feel. First the shock, then the joy, and then he mocks the whole thing. Because he not only bench presses, those of you who go to the gym, he's bench pressing by moving his, because that puts a tremendous strain on your sternum, the entire abdominal wall of muscles. So fuck you, doing the whole thing. And the whole point is that it's a strong one. You can almost check to see the entire range of emotions that the human being went through. And the largest thing I want to say about advertising and marketing today is that yes, there are lots of logistics, supply chain, and there are metrics and mechanisms that you have to put in the face, but it all comes down to one thing. One human being should at one point of time elect to buy what you're selling. Does it matter whether you have an all-India distribution chain, whether you have the best trucking facility, the Punjab and the belt, and and you better have an all-India distribution chain and best trucks and good MRs and that's true. But at the end of the day, it does not matter if you're wearing a car or a watch and a Bruno suit and something. But did she say yes? You know what I'm saying? You can blow your provident fund and everything and drive up in a Mercedes and all. And she might say, very impressive, but no thank you. I believe the technical word is KLD for that. So the question is, does she say yes? Manegi kya? And you are looking to the left or the right and saying, what is everything in this world hinging on? And it's hinging on the fact that somebody says yes and then keeps saying yes. Despite the fact that she now at some point of time has better options. And we call that fidelity, loyalty, samaj, this, that. And it's very important, and it's critical, and the burqa, so reviled in the world. Now the French are coming out with a law that prohibits a woman from wearing a burqa for security reasons. So it comes from a culture where there was pandemic looting of women, in the desert, from tribe to tribe. So you were not allowed to see what you're going to loot. So there's a chance you might not loot it. So it was for the safety of a woman. Like, for example, my fights with Ajaz have always been 72 virgins if you die, according to what the mullahs are saying. 72 virgins you get in paradise. Paradise, from where the Christians picked up the word paradise, which is the ancient Muslim Sufi way of saying garden party. Now today you go to Bad Island for a rave and all night and all that. The original Muslim word is paradis, from which we get the word paradise. Sometimes when you see the origin of words and all that, you say, "Dhat mere ki itne saalon ke liye complete topi pehna ke rखा है." I'll tell you a joke. There's a monastery in the Middle Ages, and the monks are inscribing the scripture carefully by hand. The Bibles used to be done by hand. So this young monk has a question of the senior monk. Can we just check this verse? So the senior monk says, "Yes, my son." Takes his candle, lifts his cloak a little, and goes all the way down to the basement where the original scriptures are kept. And everybody is waiting for him to come back and clarify. So 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 2 weeks. The senior monk has not come back. तो public upstairs is like in a complete panic. क्या हुआ? गिर गया, मर गया, क्या हुआ? You know, so they all go down with their candles to find that the senior monk is sitting down. All the scriptures, the stones, are strewn around him. The candle has burnt almost to the end. The monk has banged his head against the wall and he is weeping. What could he have found in the ancient scriptures that could have caused such grief, such remorse? So they ask him, brother monk, what is the problem? He looks up and he says, the word is not celibate, it was celebrate. You know? So the question is that tremendous misconceptions happen because of the changes in the 70 years ago, if you called a woman sophisticated, you would be jailed because that was an abuse. But everybody's forgotten that the word sophisticated comes from the Koine Greek Sophia, which means wise. No? But sophisticated has come to mean knowledgeable in the ways of the world. Which is why if you call a gentleman sophisticated, he says thank you. 70 years ago, if you called a woman sophisticated, you would be jailed because how can you say she is knowledgeable in the ways of the world? दुनिया की रीत पता है का मतलब क्या है? आप कहना क्या चाहते हैं? You know, like when you're growing up and all, you're not used to, you know, words and all that. You know, watching one of these Prithviraj Kapoor movies, quote this, that, and all that. Neelkant. I mean, there's somebody with that name. I've got to meet this guy. And then you find out that Kantha is the word for throat. And the court singer was known as the blue throat. So I'm like, dude, you know, can I call the good singers? Hey, Neelkant, come here. So what is the meaning of words? What is the implication of things? You know, why is it that when somebody does an ad that says Bandar Bane Sikandar, nobody objects. When jockey does an ad that shows a guy in a red brief and lipstick marks all over, 300 political parties have, you know, like blah, 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 blah. Why is the land of the Kama Sutra become, you know, practicing such an extreme degree of public morality at this time? An entire recession happened. Not one financial institution in India offered you an even one word of solace or comfort or advice or counsel or, you know, ऐसा कुछ करते हैं. I got one call from my relationship manager at the time. I am apparently entitled to a relationship manager because I am what is known as a high net worth individual. No? So I got one call from a relationship manager, but what both करती है, and said, अच्छा Mr. Saldanha, I'm moving 2 lakhs into this mutual fund. You know, बोलेगा तो, sorry, you know how girls are, na? You give them an inch, they take a yard. So I speak to her nicely, and she called me, hi, how are you Mr. Saldanha? अच्छा, I'm moving 2 lakhs into a mutual fund. Like बोलेगा तो बड़े प्यार से, जरा अदाएं मार के. So I said, are you listening to me? She said, तेरे बाप के पैसे लेकर. I said, what is it? I said, तेरे बाप के पैसे.